What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 142 of Expert Mentors Live. I am super excited for today's episode as we've got the one and only Miss Jana back on with us, and we're going to dive into 5 ways to add income to your real estate business. Jana, say what's up to the Honey Badger Nation.
Hey guys, John, I can't wait to dive into this topic, and it's always a pleasure anytime we get to be together. I am still amazed at the kitchen table that you guys did, still going over my notes and implementing. So thank you for including me.
Yes, absolutely. And can't wait to have you back in June when we're able to get together again at the end of this quarter.
Well, I'm there. I met the most amazing people. So you guys attract the rock stars for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. It's a fantastic room, and it's a room that's vulnerable and looking to grow, and a lot of similarities obviously with the Honey Badger Nation, and really the community that has been built around all of us, and being and just coming from a place of adding value, and that's where you always come from. We had you back on. Wow. 43 episodes or so ago.
Yes,
Expert Mentors.
It was in 2020 for sure. I was looking back. I think it was in last April, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Virtually preparing homes for sale with online assessments was the topic back then. So always adapting, always adjusting to make sure, position for whatever is coming your way. So a lot's changed since then.
A lot has changed for sure. Yeah. And we've got some great information to share on how we are adapting, and a little bit that will relate to the realtors out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for all the, this group has grown, a couple thousand even since the last time you were on. So give, for those that haven't had the opportunity to connect with you or consume any of the amazing stuff that you're always putting out, give them a little bit of background about yourself.
Absolutely. So first off, thank you guys. And we've known you and Holly for, I've just stopped counting the years. It ages us, but it was through Mike Reese and of course, Jay Kinder. And those gentlemen are always rock stars and mentors in my world. They will be forever. And we are in the staging industry. We really represent not only what professional staging looks like here in Dallas with our local company, Model My Home, that started in 2002. And all of the lessons learned, we said, okay, well, we have NAEA. We need HSRA. We need professionalism in our industry. So we are like an NAEA or an NAR for home staging businesses, those that consider themselves true businesses and not hobbyists. Because we're an unlicensed industry, we needed representation. And so what are the best practices? When you hire a professional staging company, how do you know they're going to deliver that expectation and be an example or representative of your brand? So we collaborated. We put together the top 130 companies throughout the country into Canada, the best of the best, and that's who we represent. So we're out here, we're on Clubhouse, we're everywhere singing the praises of professional home staging because it's still making a difference, John. Even in this hot market, we had our best month in the history of our company in this month. We've already hit well over double our best month ever, which is phenomenal. And one of those is one of the new rev streams we're going to talk about here today. That's now become another rev stream.
That's fantastic. So, before we jump into those 5 things and kind of what we were talking about before we went live, a little hashtag COVID, sometimes circumstance drives the decisions we make. So what what you just mentioned, home staging is still so critical in today's market. What are some statistics that you're seeing that's, proving why that is so important?
Well, I got this question yesterday on a Clubhouse, and it's interesting. The 101 questions we are still receiving from top professional realtors out there. They want to know statistics. They want to know who pays for this stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow. We're back to those 101s because when it comes to statistics, we know it's a moving target. And especially now, usually the average of 11%, you're going to be able to gain 11% more on average when it comes to professional staging, staged home versus non-staged home. We know that this market is so crazy. I know here in Dallas, we're almost 60% less homes on the market month over month. It's crazy, like a month worth of inventory. And so, but here's what we're seeing, John. The professionals never stop doing what they do best, and that is the proven repeatable systems. So you can always use the 11%. That's kind of a typical standard here in the Dallas market, though, with our professional staging company, and every professional staging company should have their own local statistics. So ask your local professional. We are seeing that over 50% have an accepted offer within 5 days, and that is huge. Usually it's multiple. I can't tell you how many times it's one day. And over ask, we've had 47 offers come in on properties. It's crazy. So we're trying to stay on top as the market does change. We're seeing a little slowdown just a bit with the summer market come upon us. But it's just wonderful to see that it's still working even in a hot market.
It really is. And, you go back to, like you said, and if you guys have, follow the NAEA, CHSA, up to 18% more, you're like, well, how do you get to that in this market? Well, right there, professional staging is just one of the many, variables that you can proactively manage to help net your clients up to 18% more than, traditional real estate agents. And it is, it's so key. So Jana, let's shift over a little bit to, kind of these income streams and really what has kind of forced, you to look at multiple revenue streams, moving into this market.
Absolutely. So, John, I know that we all were hit with essential versus non-essential. We faced something that we've never faced before. And it really made us go back to zero to say, wow, do I have a relevant, sustainable business that can take impact? And, just like football, your business is going to take hits. And is that hit going to take you out? And I did not want to have a business that we were singular focused. We were focused on maybe luxury vacant staging, and that was all we did. We wanted, I believe, to the heart of all of us, you, Holly, the whole crew here, we are in this industry to serve people and to make an impact. And so we didn't want to be singular focused in our business. And so that was the good news with coming off of the pandemic. We said, okay, well, we are essential, kind of dovetailing into real estate. We had over 80 properties staged when everything kind of hit the fan. And now all of a sudden, what happens, right? Like, what do? Do we destage all of these homes? No, we can't do that. They're still on the market. So we had to make some critical decisions. And I remember John grabbing our team in one of our alignment meetings and saying, guys, this is critical week. Like, this is critical week. If we're going to survive, it's going to be up to this week. Yes, we had savings, but I knew I didn't want to have to face laying off people. Right. We had a team of 15. Sure. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to come to that hard decision. I know for a lot of us out there, we maybe had to make that tough decision. And what my team did, John, is they stepped up. We had logistics team that are driving trucks, loading furniture on the phone reaching out to our clients to say, how are you doing? And in that, we had to figure out what are their new needs now? What could we do for them now? It was more than just staging. It was more than just providing a consultation. We had to know, how do we need to pivot with online? But we also saw opportunity in this. So for us, we had to think, okay, we survived that critical week. We thrived. We started looking at what is this building, this enterprise, this empire? What are we building? What does it look like? And we wanted it to have many rooms, but they all had to be related. It's almost like your living room that has your bedrooms. Like we had to have common ground there. So I'm coming to you today, and I'm going to give you just a quick tour from one of our properties that is actually a multifamily. And we're here in Las Colinas. I get the view of if you guys have ever seen the Mustangs, they're over there. And this is one of 4 properties that we have right now. Personally, my husband and I, short-term rental. And that is one of the streams we're going to talk about. And we had investors, John, that their properties, even in this market, weren't getting the hits that they wanted. They weren't getting the ROI. So we're teaming with them. We have them partially staged. Why not fill in the rest of the rooms and put that on short-term rental platforms? So in particular, we had to look at ourselves and personally, our home life, and we had to say, what are our income streams coming in? We need 5 to 7, and let's add some to it. And so we've taken our personal home that is about 15 to 20 miles away, and we're profiting around $7,500 a month on that one property. That's after everything is paid. So I just want to encourage you guys out there. It doesn't have to be your personal home, but think about adding an income stream of the short-term rental, getting into corporate housing. You can arbitrage this with rent to rent on apartments, or you can have your single families or your duplexes. It's just a really good thing that I believe, John, is the reason that we have maxed out, because now Model My Home is staging properties to live and also for short-term rental.
I love it. It's the pivot on offense, and I think that's the lesson that I'm hearing, and I really want everybody to connect with, is that sometimes we have to play defense real quick, but we've got to put all of our energy and effort on offense. I had a coaching conversation this morning. We were talking about just this, and I was like, hell, even Alabama figured out they had to play offense. And so it's like, you got to play offense. Yeah. And this is adding and focused on the additional revenue streams is doing just that, playing offense. And so, yeah, let's dive a little bit deeper on this, right? On the short term, income, adding that into kind of your portfolio, either personal or, for investors. Like how can people take advantage of this income stream?
Well, I would say, become a student first, because if you just dive in with both feet, there's going to be a lot of questions that you may have. And it is another stream of income, but it is almost like another business. So you might need to set up an LLC if this is your personal, projects, and then getting on those platforms, looking and being a student of what other homes on the market in my area are there, learning from them. One thing that we get to do, John, is because our staging team comes in and beautifies these homes, we get to say that they are professionally designed property, which that brings a premium ADR, average daily rate. So we have comps, you could say, in our area of short-term rentals. You can just go to Airbnb or Verbo and not put dates in, but search your area, see what homes are active and properties are active. Look at those, just do some investigative work, find some comps. But when you now do not have competition, the way that you don't have that is you team with your professional staging company or designer, and now you can up that rate, almost double possibly, because the average night that you want to try to go for is about 20 per month is where your target is. And you want to 3 to 4x your expenses. So if that is your formula, you can get into this industry pretty quickly if you do have the properties, or you have someone, you're a realtor, you work with builders, you work with investors, and you want to co-host a property together. That is something you don't want to make their world more difficult. You can do this for them, and that kind of gets into our number 2 of maybe some type of property management. But there's so much opportunity here. I would say have your own personal properties if you can. And then once you get to about 3 or more, you need to hire that out if that is not your full-on job or company.
Perfect. So, Jana, what are your thoughts? And I mean, speak a little bit here with the property management. I mean, do you guys have that and manage your own doors, or how do you have that structured and set up?
So what we're doing right now is developing that. Modelstay.com is our website, and we are hosting our own properties. It has its final touches going on, but that will be a national platform for professionally designed and staged properties that our staging companies are also getting on board with. They're doing their personal properties, they're doing some corporate properties, and now this is kind of a new platform that we've created. But yes, you want to make sure that that you like nail and scale, right? That's always the game when it comes to making sure that you understand how this works. And so, continue to be a learner, continue to grow and develop this. When you get into corporate housing, again, that's a stream, but you could also, with your property management, you're going to have to think about your crews. The people that have nailed this, John, are part of this wonderful group here, and that is Lindsay and Bruce Stevens. So look them up. They actually have a property management company, over 200 properties. Now, if you look on their website, they're listed, and they're another key go-to. That's almost like a handyman. So you got to have staff to make that happen. They're usually taking, not necessarily Lindsay and Bruce, but typical corporate housing companies, corporate housing, the property management companies are taking about 20% of the revenue coming in to do their job. So they're doing everything, though. They're hosting, they're co-hosting. If there's something going wrong, they're communicating with the clients. So if you add 20 to 30%, the high ends will do 30%. And if our property is generating $7,500 a month off of one, you take 20 to 30% of that times, 10x, 100x that. That's a nice income stream.
Sure. No, it is fantastic. So how do you and kind of with EXP, playing the EXP game, hey, no property management, how do you kind of legally structure that to where, you're not kind of crossing the boundaries with the EXP brokerage?
And that's a really great question as well, that I'm not necessarily the expert on. I have heard through the grapevine, having another realtor possibly in that realm. So you guys would be the experts on that. I just know that it is an opportunity out there if you're looking for, different businesses to structure and then figure out the details on how it can work. But there are, some ways and strategies to make that happen.
No, there's always a way, right? There's always a way. You just haven't maybe asked the right question or talked to the right person or found the right model. But there is always a way. So those are two fantastic, income streams to be able to look at adding into kind of your portfolio, your business as a whole. What would be your number 3 revenue stream to pay attention to, that there's a real opportunity?
Yeah, when you think about growing business, and for us, it was all about listening to the needs. What are the needs of our clients? And we know that continuing education is one of those needs. People are looking for answers and solutions now more than ever before. That's why they hire you, John, because you are an expert. You literally have done more than 10,000 hours of coaching and training. And you've been in the business. You've been grassroots in Lawton. You know what it's like. And people are looking for those solutions and the scenarios on how to deal and not only just survive, but thrive now. And so if you can create some CE classes as a realtor, we know some rockstar realtors that are CE instructors. And so they're teaching, but guess what? They're teaching and they're taking them on a journey. So having a call to action, what happens after the class? Is there somewhere you could take them? What are you an expert in? What is the niche that you have just nailed? And for us, we're getting into nailing short-term rental as a staging company. Who would have thought it? But my goodness, it's been very lucrative, and it's also provided a new take on allowing people to come into a property in that hospitality, that service industry. So do a CE class on short-term rental if that's your niche. Do a CE class on working with builders. Some states require 3 hours, as we know, and some do not want the term marketing anywhere in the class. So we've been against those type of constraints, but where there's a will, as we said, there's a way. Find a niche and teach. We know that in EXP world, you can go in, you can teach as well, but what about CE to your local? We know we have a referral network of other realtors. So how do we generate and foster that? Through teaching, training, and coaching. We know we have to have hours. Why not leverage those hours with information and then have a call to action? Maybe it's something free, right? We take them through the funnel. And then we have an event, or we have an online course that we've created videos through. So that is just another income stream. You have a book, and it's all related on a subject matter. It's just a thing that we have seen. We have experienced this whole rev stream, and it's brought 6 figures alone into our business annually. How about you? What are you an expert at? And start with a class and take them on a journey.
Oh, I love that. And, I think, a lot of folks listening in, they may fall into a little bit of that kind of imposter syndrome of, well, Jana, that's great, but I don't have anything that anybody that's worth teaching and that's the challenge, right? And that's where the imposter syndrome fallacy falls in. It's really, their competence is higher than their confidence, and they need, that's where connecting with somebody that can kind of help pull that out of them. And, if you're really looking for that feedback, email 10 people that will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And just ask them, say, hey, what do you think I'm really the best in the world at? What am I really great? And listen to that feedback. And then that might fall right in around what you can build, that training, that support, that coaching, that teaching. And then also, Jana, I would say find somebody that's already doing it and model that, but with your niche, what you're really, really good at, what you're, where you have that balance of competence and confidence to really speak on, I think would be, kind of where to start with that.
Well, model, mimic, and master, right? And that is the formula. Model, mimic, and master. We have such great rock stars. There's no one better in my world than Grant Cardone when it comes to sales and marketing. So what did we do? We invested over $25,000 into a licensee program with them almost 2 years ago. It was the best money that I have invested. Because we have weekly one-on-one, one to a few training with them. And it has helped my confidence. It has also built my competence. And so you can look outside even of this industry and say, okay, who is the best of the best? Let me now create kind of a vegetable soup of the best of the best. And so coming into different industries, there's no one better than John Maxwell in my book when it comes to leadership. So what did we do? We invested money to be a mentor or a coach under their program. And when we can now dovetail that into our niche of an industry, that is greatness. And so take these things that you're learning and put them into a class or a course and just consistently, it's repetition is the key. Repetition is the key. What's the key? People learn and they model repetition. And that's how they become great at what they do.
Yeah, I think another great takeaway from this episode is the willingness to invest in improving yourself and improving your situation to live that bigger and better future, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a huge lesson for everybody listening in is do not be afraid to invest in yourself. And is Jim Rohn, right? 101. Right. 10%, at least 10% of what your annual income projections are for the year, take that dollar amount and make that investment.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you are the best investment in it, and that can never go wrong. When now you've got to take that action, but you're learning from greats, and you're in the room with greats. And the Clubhouse is a perfect opportunity to just practice your skill set of learning and modeling and going out and being great at what you do best.
So Jana, we've uncovered 3 of the 5 ways. 1 being, the short-term rentals, 2 being property management, 3 being the CE courses with a really good call to action. What is going to be number 4 on your list?
Well, I would say that I have learned from the best, which is you guys sitting in those. John, I'm thinking back to all of the masterminds that you guys have allowed me to be a fly on the wall, all the way from the very first event at the Gaylord. That was the free event. I was there. Then going into Arizona and sitting in the room with you guys, all of the events here in Frisco. And I got to hear when people were in masterminds, all of their ideas from getting the sponsors, call them affiliate partners, call them your vendors, let's scrub down your vendor list, because hopefully they didn't go out of business over these last 12 months. But you need to look back at that vendor list and say, how can I make these not vendors, but partners yes. in the business? I would love to tell you the different alignments in our alliance that we have created. It is multifaceted, and this is now national. So who are the local partners that you can create? We know there are rules and regulations when it comes to money exchange, but what about service exchange? What about your Mini Coupe that has, the advertisements on it? What about going back to Jay Kinder and his locksmith, and just all of the people that are in your world that you can now leverage, because it's a win-win. You become their marketer, and they will pay you 10% when it comes to the average referral fee. Now, again, you got to think about all of the rules and regulations here, but in any world, 10% is a really good referral fee. So figure out how you can leverage partners. This is not just a sponsor for a one-time thing that you may do. This is now partnership. So John, here's an example. Actually, we charge $7,500 to our affiliate partners, and I get on monthly with them, and we do a coaching call. We have used Kajabi to build out a growth development program that does the same thing. What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your core values? These are people not in our industry. A lot of them are blue collar. They have not sat in rooms like this. So we have literally created business development modules for them and are doing monthly mini masterminds. And here in our industry, I'm being open and real with you guys. Don't share this. But they're paying $7,500 startup, and then 10% of anyone that we send them. And most of these are monthly revenue, and they're multiple clients. So add that up. I mean, it's exponential. So what can you do legally to build out a partnership with people in your local area, now nationally? We know that referrals are amazing. You get into short-term rental with some of your investors that are in multiple cities. My gosh, the opportunities are endless.
It really is. And, you're bringing a lot of thoughts back and how I think knowing what we know now, how we could possibly structure the deal differently today to where it'd be even more advantageous for both of us in that relationship. And the typical way has always been, hey, let's go get a mortgage lender to offset some of our marketing. Hey, let's get title. Let's get this. The next evolution was, having an ownership interest, like a real equity position with whatever said entity, said company. We've owned mortgage, we've owned title, we've owned the construction company, we've owned the rehab company. And so going that route is great. Another way I think, even kind of looking at this is like what you're even talking about. It's not an actual equity stake. It's maybe a phantom equity position. You're not, it's a completely separate, agreement to where essentially they're not giving away, equity, but maybe you are getting a percentage, like you said, of every deal you send their way. I've got a client right now that has that system structured for their home inspector. And their home inspector pays them a dollar amount per deal instead of a couple $100 a month to put towards marketing or whatever type of relationship. And I think when you look at from a venture standpoint, if you look at it more of instead of, hey, let's get some vendor dollars. Well, why don't we get some joint venture positions? Yeah. And that really puts you in a better position. It's a better for them and it's better for you because now you're vested in their success just as well as they're vested in yours. So those would be a couple. I mean, I think it's it's one of the most underutilized, taken advantage of revenue opportunities that every real estate professional has. And it's a fear. It's just a lack of not understanding it. It's afraid, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. Sure. And it's just not understanding. And I think maybe even falls back to some of that, what we were just talking about a while ago, that imposter syndrome of like, well, I don't have enough value to offer. Well, that's not true. You're bringing them business. You're acquiring the customer. You're helping them and acquiring customers as well. So that's fantastic.
And just what you're bringing up there, because the goal of this today, this training is to start the generation of ideas and the why nots, and so your area, your business might look different. Figure out what would make the most sense. And like Jay says, always do the math. If you're saying, well, we're just looking to cover some marketing dollars, but what if we did this opportunity and it 10x's, because it 10x's their business, the referral, all of those things. It's just a better formula to get there faster. So I think rethinking some of those partnerships and setting up some new ones is a great way to go. And it's a perfect time.
I love what you just said, right? Hopefully this conversation will not only, give them some concrete things that they can take action on, but also spur ideas of really looking at all of the other ways. And I was gonna chime in on something you said a while ago, and you talked about Cardone and looking outside of the industry. And that's a huge lesson for everybody listening in. If you just pay attention to what's going on within your industry, you're only going to have plus or minus, about 5 to 6% being able to grow. Where you have the double-digit and exponential growth is when you look outside of your industry and what's working exceptionally well, what's working the best there. So don't keep the blinders on and paying attention to just what's going on within the industry. Look outside, who's having success, what's working, what's really working, and how can you model, right? I think that was one of your key things. How can you model what's working? And it doesn't matter what industry. what can you model and apply into your business to where you can play offense and add those additional revenue streams?
Well, this dovetails nicely into our next and our next income stream here, and it goes exactly with where I am right now, and that's multifamily. So as you're saying, John, looking outside of our industry, I mean, we couldn't look in the home staging industry and be super empowered or impacted with looking at side to side. We had to look up, we had to look outside. So that's what we did. We looked at you guys. What are you you're building such an incredible culture that has stuck with you for years, that will be with you for a lifetime because you have provided so much value. And so we had to model that success. And right now within real estate, what is having success? Let me tell you what's having success. Multifamily everywhere. And so you may say, well, Jana, Don, I'm not in commercial. Like, that's not my lane. Well, hello, if it's making the dollars and it makes sense, make it your lane. So this could be a situation where you are a limited partner in multifamily. You are finding experts in your area to invest in, and whether you are the general partner or the local partner, you become an investor, and you now create a new income stream, and you're interested, right? You're like, well, why not? Why could I not get into property development and multifamily? And I'm meeting some incredible people. Before we were with you guys at Mastermind, the week before, we were in a multifamily conference. We're not even in multifamily, but guess what? My clients are there. My future partners are there. So where are your people? Make your circle a little bigger and step out of just your comfort zone. If you've only done A and B for this long, let's add C and D. Let's now think about multiple streams. It doesn't mean you go now buy a bakery, but guess what? Multifamily is within our industry. It's a separate room off of the living room. So let's learn that business and let's 10x our income stream. So there's so many ways to get into multifamily. We will be in this space within 12 months. And again, we're not saying put more work on yourself. Partner with experts. Stand on the shoulders of giants. The people that are in the industry are looking for you. They want you to grow. They want you to be successful. And you're going to add value to them in your expertise, and they're going to add value to you. So I just encourage people, like, get out of your circle and out of the average thinking, and like, let's grow bigger. Let's think bigger about where people are going. Go where bodies flow. There's your statement. Go where bodies flow. Where are bodies flowing? They're flowing. If the U.S., we got the U, right? They're flowing to the outskirts. They are flowing into multifamily. Their properties are selling so quickly, they don't have the next home. Can you partner with someone that's in the multifamily space to set up a 6-month rental, and you bring your staging company in and you're getting a part of that? Like, there's so many opportunities now. Multifamily, you may can hear it. It may be something that's just off in the distance, but there are 4 right now complexes being built over the way here. It's happening. It hasn't slowed down. COVID didn't even stop it.
No, it really is. So Jana, I love that you kind of answered kind of my next question. It doesn't have to be all on your shoulders, right? I think that's where it's the whole, who versus how type of concept. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, because they're like, well, how in the hell am I going to do that? And that's not the right question. It's like, who can help us? Yeah. Yeah. Who can I help us? So Jana, as you guys are evolving and adding the additional streams, how important is it to make sure that you're still holding on and maintaining your core services, kind of the bread and butter?
Well, you have to know the golden egg. The golden egg still remains protected in the nest, and we know that we do that best. We have nailed vacant staging, occupied staging. We are teaching and training and coaching hundreds of companies to be the best they can be. So we don't lose our core competency, but what we do is expand that. We make room in the nest for other eggs. We build different rooms off of the main living room, and we expand the property. So we just want to say, keep your main thing the main thing, unless the cheese moves, right? Who moved my cheese? Sometimes the cheese moves. We didn't want to be in an industry in staging where now we've become obsolete with virtual staging. But it's one of those things where we know virtual staging only works for certain situations. And we don't want to own a bunch of blockbusters. We know real estate is broken. So is home staging. That industry is broken. So we've got to know, though, what is our core competency, but we also have to look at what's coming on the horizon. How is technology changing our industry? That's why I love EXP, because he was, and I was at 10X Growth Con and got to see Glenn. Glenn, by the way, is looking good. He lost some weight. He is trimming up. He's a rock star in so many ways. And he is, his heart is just in the right place of helping people and being able to be that visionary. So you've got to be the visionary of your company. If you feel like that egg is getting smaller and smaller, add more eggs. So that's what we're doing, John, in our industry, in our own personal company. And we're just trying to influence and impact more companies as this real estate industry changes and is kind of fluid right now. We know foreclosures are on the horizon. We know other interest rates are on the horizon. Usually when builders are doing great, investors aren't so much. So now short-term rental is the answer for investors. It's all about having a solution for the challenges we're facing.
Yeah, I love that. And so kind of connect the dots for everybody on this, as you were, kind of talking about the core services and kind of what you're, really good at. How critical is it, from a leadership perspective, and how critical is it to have the right team to be able to continue to pursue on this?
Well, it's everything. And right now we're going through a pruning season in our own business. And I want to encourage those that are out there listening that you may lose that number one or that number two. And you've got to say, were they the right person and it was me? It wasn't me. Or is this just an opportunity for improvement? John, we're a faith-based company, and I dedicated my company to God from the day one. I am just an employee and worker in this company, and I just need the right team around me. But at the end of the day, they're going to come. It's catch and release. But your right team is vital. And we are structuring in our org chart a team that functions without me. And I've learned it can't just be one person that replaces me. It has to be two leaders in production and operation, and they have their teams under them. And they're solid. It's not a house of cards, because I believe when we set our companies up, sometimes it is like, who needs a job? And I have a need now. And we just hired 2 virtual assistants with the company you guys recommended to us, because they can do what they do best. And team is everything, right? People, process, product, but that team has to be a visionary, and they have to be a leader. I believe there are builders, there are improvers, there are maintainers. Then, of course, we have users and we have abusers. And any of your team right there can fall under one of those categories. You have to have builders and you have to have improvers. We don't want maintainers, we don't want users, and we don't want abusers. So ask yourself and do an audit. And if you have to prune, that's okay, because it's a season right now of pruning, so that a beautiful rose bush can grow, or that crepe myrtle can grow.
Yeah, no, I love that. We can have a whole completely other conversation on team dynamics and people and org structure and design, and definitely lessons learned. And I know we got a lot of war stories we both can share.
Oh,
so
yes. We can laugh now.
Laugh now, but I'm sure there'll be more tears in the future as well, because it never stops.
That's right. Healthy things grow, and sometimes it's one step back, 2 steps forward. That's always a dance.
It is. It is always a dance. So I want to recap for everybody real quick, Jana, before we, kind of bring this episode to a close, and definitely of the 5. And it's just like Jana shared, right? This conversation is meant to give you some examples that have been revenue streams that Jana has uncovered, and also help maybe spark some ideas for all of you guys listening in. And, 1 was the short-term rentals. 2 was property management. 3 was the CE courses, the additional training with a really good call to action. And it could just be a conversation, a free download, build your list, whatever that is. And then vendor list, looking at them more than just as kind of a, hey, let me get some vendor dollars, but how can you position maybe and potentially being an investor in that organization, be a real joint venture partner. Right. And then 5 is the multifamily. And, I think where a lot of people too get hung up, Jana, is like, well, how in the hell am I going to do that? I can't be 100%. It's like, no. You don't have to be 100% in anything. Just get get the percentage of value that you can and build from there. And, I go back to, even in the days of us running the guaranteed sale and, having investors that were backing that program. And then all of a sudden we partner with one of the investors, and then all of a sudden we become the investor. And that didn't happen overnight. Sure. That was like a 5 or 6, 7 year period to where that transition took to get there. And it's guys, it's like, this is a long game. Understand we're playing a long game, and make decisions and build a foundation so you can play forever.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm going to play, my boys play football, right? I mean, talking about offense, defense, I want a team on the field with me, and I want coaches on the sideline, and I want owners that are invested. And so if you think about what your position is, are you the business owner, like actually running the plays, or trying to do this by yourself? Are you the coach on the sideline and the team is looking to you? And you're building leadership on that team? Are you the owner that actually the business runs without you? And where do you want to be? And multiple income streams allow you to get there faster. And now all of a sudden we know what the future can look like. And we're not the one on the field making all the plays, because that get hurt, we get injured, we get tired, right? We'll do that forever.
Kinder and I always laugh. It's just like, he's like, hey man, I'm down for anything. And I said, I know. As long as you're not on the org structure. And he laughed. I said, because what that means for everybody listening in, if you're on the org chart, that means you have a job.
J-O-B.
And he's like, I'll do anything as long as I'm not on any org chart. I was like, I got you.
And then you're like, Mike, maybe you're like, I'll do anything for 6 months. I'm going to vet this out for someone else. So that's also, sometimes we have to wear that hat for a moment. Whatever
your style. I know my style is I'm trying to create and build things to where I'm not on any org charts. Right. So that's definitely my goal. Jana, I appreciate you always, just a wealth of knowledge and always adding value. I cannot thank you enough. Love having you a part of the Honey Badger Nation. And, for all of you guys listening in, make sure to connect with Jana. She's in the Honey Badger group. Connect with her on all social platforms. She's very active and vocal on Clubhouse. So make sure you guys get connected. Follow her on Clubhouse. Join the rooms that she's a part of. If you found real, some value and takeaways from today, get into those conversations that Jana's leading and a part of on Clubhouse. And Jana, thank you so much. Really appreciate you jumping in with us.
Absolutely. And if you guys want more information, we're going to be having a real estate conference here May 21st and 22nd in Dallas. You can join in person or online. You can go to exchangeevent.com, and that starts with an X, exchangeevent.com. And any of our EXPers that are local in Dallas, we've got special pricing on staging for you. Just reach out to us, info@myhsra.com. And nationally, we want to connect you with partners. So same thing, info@myhsra.com. We will hook you up with a local partner that you can trust and get you guys some special pricing.
Cannot say enough about Jana, her companies, the organization, their training. Our our team, out of the Lawton team, all went through her training. Cannot recommend it enough. You need to be well versed and knowledgeable in the staging, being able to speak to that. And definitely jump in and take advantage of it. And Jana's events are always incredible as well. So if you're able to get connected, do make your way to that event if you can.
We would love to have it. We're going to have more talk on this for sure. So thank you,
Absolutely.
John. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Jana. We'll see you soon.
All righty.
See ya.